Well, good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see all of you. Warner, also known as Andy, Yolande, Cheryl, Aaron, Anita. I want to thank you all for the conversation we're about to have. As representative you all are of federal workers all over our country who are doing some of the most incredible and noble work that any one person can choose to do. I want to, of course, thank my partner in this process, Secretary Marty Walsh, who has been extraordinary as a lifelong supporter and fighter for organized labor, for labor unions, and most importantly, for workers. I also want to thank the Office of Personnel Management Director, Kieran Ahuja, for the work that you have been doing. This has been extraordinary. It's been a process of working with outstanding public servants who include members of the President's cabinet, who have been looking internally at the federal government, at these most important agencies, and thinking about how can we do a better job to protect our nation's workers. And that is at the core of the work that this task force was charged with doing. Understanding that federal workers in particular, government workers, public service professionals do their work on behalf of the public, usually on behalf of people they never have known, may never even meet. They do their work every day tirelessly on behalf of people who may never know their names, but will forever be benefited because of that work. We are proud as the Biden-Harris administration in what we believe we will be, which is the most pro-union administration in the history of America. And our work includes not only the work of this task force, but the work of creating good union jobs through the Build Back Better agenda and the bipartisan infrastructure deal. We intend to do everything we can to help pass the Richard L. Trumka Protecting the Right to Organize Act, also known as the PRO Act. And we intend to use our executive authority to lift up workers through this task force and to highlight the nobility of their work. And let's just think about who our federal workers are. Our federal workers are nurses who care for our veterans. Our federal workers are firefighters who keep our national forests safe. I've talked to so many of them, also in terms of the work they've been doing, in particular in the western states, fighting these incredible wildfires that are damaging whole communities, if not wiping out whole communities. Who are our federal workers? They're scientists who've been working to ensure that products are safe and to discover breakthroughs. We've seen the incredible work of them in terms of what we've seen during the pandemic, which really highlights the importance and the nobility of people who have dedicated themselves to public service, to doing the work that is about ensuring the public good. So we want to thank everyone for this. Our administration has been working to help folks, in particular in the federal government, organize and collectively bargain. And there are two main reasons. We believe that a stronger workforce is the work that will happen to create actually higher productivity and lower turnover. We also believe that this is about respecting the dignity of all work and respecting the dignity of workers. Second, we're doing this because we believe and know that workers are entitled to be paid wages commensurate with their value. The dignity of work must be recognized. The value of that work must be recognized in every way. That is not just about thanking somebody for doing their job, but actually paying them commensurate with the value of their job. So this is our approach to the task force, and basically for the president and me and so many of us, Marty, all of us who have dedicated ourselves to public service. This is the work of recognizing the importance of the work, the impact it can have on our entire nation, and the importance then of protecting the workers who do it. So today we are announcing two new administration policies that will help improve basically what we must do to protect workers, but specifically to remove barriers to organizing in the federal workplace. And so one, we, as it relates to new hires, have decided and are committed to making sure that they will be told at the time of being hired if they are eligible to join a union. They will be given contact information, and they will be informed of their rights. We'd like to believe that this happens every time, but we know it doesn't. So this is something we're announcing today, which is a new policy from our administration to help remove barriers to organizing in the workplace. Because if folks don't know their rights, if they're not informed of their rights, how can they fight to protect their rights? How can we enforce those rights? The second is, as it relates to current workers, we're going to ensure that all current workers are reminded that they are eligible to join a union. So for current workers, we're going to ensure that they are reminded if they are eligible to join a union, because again, we have folks who have been working in the federal government for years who during the course of that time may not have been informed. And we want to make sure that they know now if they didn't know before. And all of this is just part of our broader strategy to make the federal government a model employer. And we call on all employers to make similar steps in doing the work of protecting workers because we recognize the nobility of the work. The federal government is the largest employer in the United States of America. We know that this effort is going to impact, therefore, a lot of people. But we also know that by example, we can hopefully encourage all workplaces, all industries, to look at what is in the best interest of productivity, in the best interest of morale, and in the best interest, of course, of, again, valuing the dignity of work. So in that way, we do believe this is not only going to impact a large number of people who make up the federal workforce, but this will be a model of what all industries have the capacity and the ability, if not the imperative, to do. And with that, I want to now introduce an incredible public servant, our Labor Secretary, Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. And we want to, first of all, thank you for the incredible work you've done on the task force. And also, on behalf of all of us, I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Happy
today,
birthday.
Okay? And I think everyone on the Zoom, all of you are going to have to sing in a few minutes, especially you, Andy.
No,
You're going to have to start singing in a minute. So I want to just...
I forbid it.
I'm only kidding. But thank you for your great work here.
Thank you.
It's great to be here. OPM
you.
Director Karen Aruja, thank you as well for your incredible work. The participants, all of you on the screen, thank you very much for the work you do every day on behalf of the American people. The folks that are in the audience today, thank you as well for being here today. You know, one thing that's not a secret, this is the most pro-worker, pro-union administration of our lifetimes. And that's a really amazing statement to make. Unions are good for workers, as all of you know. They're good for our communities, they're good for our economy, and they're certainly good for our country. Better pay and benefits, better working conditions protect smaller wage earners, and really an opportunity for people to get into the middle class, to build back better and get in the middle class. Workers want unions. For the first time in a long time, support is at 68%, the highest level in over 50 years of American people saying that they support unions and organized labor in this country. Young workers and workers of color are the most supportive. President Biden created this task force that we all served on to meet the need. We're focused on how we can work to get every agency that can take action, both on the public and private sector workers. So it really is a roadmap on how we move forward. We're submitting a comprehensive report to the president this weekend that I know he's anxious to receive. It's going to make a real difference for workers. You heard a little bit from the vice president today what it means, and just a small taste of what that report's going to say. We're here today to talk about the federal government employee unions and the importance of the work that you do, not just as union members, but honestly working on behalf of the American people. As a former mayor, I know that strong unions means effective government, and I look forward to hearing your experiences today, and so we can support you even further. So with that, I get the opportunity to turn it over to you, Madam Director.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Walsh, and thank you, Madam Vice President, for the opportunity to be with all of you here today and to work together to really elevate this conversation. So I'm really looking forward to having this discussion and roundtable with all of you virtually. And I think it's something special, Madam Vice President, that you're doing this on your birthday for the workers. So that
you.
really speaks volumes. And again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
As we know, the right to organize is sacrosanct. It empowers workers with their collective voice and ensures that they are treated with dignity and respect in the workplace. It gives them a seat at the table to demand fair pay and benefits for their work and safe working conditions. So many low-wage occupations that lack protections for workers are held by people of color and historically disadvantaged communities. So it's important that we recognize just how important it is, the right to organize. It's a labor issue, it's an equity issue, it's a social justice issue. And frankly, it's also a gender and racial justice issue. As Madam Vice President has shared, it is a pathway to fair wages. It is a pathway to the middle class. And it's an important work that we should be doing within the federal government to really position ourselves as a model employer. Being the largest employer in the nation, I think people sometimes forget that. The federal government has a responsibility to lead by example when it comes to labor rights and to make sure that all federal jobs are good jobs. So to that end, OPM is proud to work on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration to help launch this government-wide effort today that will remove barriers and obstacles in federal workplaces which impede unions' ability to strengthen union density and inform civil servants about their collective bargaining rights. The first initiative, and you've heard the Vice President talk about this, will connect unions with employees very early on. I'd be curious when we talk to you all whether you heard about your union when you joined or how long it took to actually find out that you were a part of a union. We want to ensure that job applicants and new employees receive this information about their unions and their rights on day one. We're also rolling out guidance to improve communications about unions to our workforce. Every federal employee should know their bargaining rights, how to contact their union, and where to find this information. I know this sounds like all very basic and straightforward, but these are things we want to make sure are happening across the federal government, more than 2 million employees, and being the largest employer, we should absolutely be the model employer. So I'm so grateful to join the Vice President in this important work, and I appreciate the Biden-Harris administration's unwavering commitment to labor rights and the federal workforce. We'd like to say at OPM that we work as hard for the federal workforce as that workforce does for the American people, and that's all of you. So thank you. And when it comes to protecting and bolstering federal labor rights, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Secretary Walsh are truly setting a very, very high bar that we are thrilled at OPM to contribute to. So thank you very much for being here.